So were you mostly able to figure out that people were credible just by talking to them, getting more information out of them? Was it successful all the time?
All the time, no. No. Iraq is just, it's a different culture. And you really, in my line of work, you have to not only understand yourself, but you got to understand the culture that you're dealing with. If you're, dealing with a Serb or a Croat or a Bosnian Muslim, they're all kind of a different animal, and our culture defines us. In the U.S., we're kind of we are, how would you put it? In like Iraq, they're a shame-based culture, and we're more of a guilt-based culture. I won't do something wrong because I'll feel bad about it. For them, it's not so much that they'll feel bad about it. They'll feel bad about it if they get caught. But if they get away with it, it's all good. And it kind of goes back to that whole idea of corruption, and you got to do what you got to do to get yourself further down the field towards that successful life that you want to achieve. So no, we didn't always have success dealing with folks, but when I can, and you have the problems of language and translation, but if I can sit with someone for a while and talk with them, they get a feel for me, I get a feel for them, and in my work it's all about credibility too. So if I'm talking with you the first time we meet and I say, you are the teacher at this great girls' school and you're the headmaster, so you're a person of interest to me because you have influence over all these young girls. So I can say, what, you tell me that the girls here all need more school supplies and half of them need a better pair of shoes. I can provide that. So by doing that, it bolsters your the perception they have of you as a credible leadership figure within the school. And all of these girls know that these supplies are coming from the United States and people who care about their education and care that they got something on their feet. And do the insurgents give you pencils and shoes? No, but the Americans do. And so when the Americans say, "Hey, why don't you try to support different activities leading towards a better Iraq?" maybe you'll think about doing that. So for us, the credibility side is if I say I'll come back on Tuesday and I'm going to have 45 pairs of shoes and 3,000 pencils and notebooks, and I show up on Tuesday with those things, you can trust me. It's a first step. Now, if I say I'll be back on Tuesday and I don't show up, now I'm just like every other knucklehead that ever let you down in your society when you call the police and the police don't show up, or you get pulled over by the police and the police say, "Hey, I haven't had my breakfast yet. How about some money?" So credibility is a huge piece of what we do in building trust. And when you build trust and credibility, then they see what you're doing as kind of the better way to be, and next thing you know, they're telling you about there's bad guys over there that are doing bad things, and if you can get us pencils, maybe you can get us people that can handle those bad guys, or maybe you can train our police to go handle those bad guys.
So did you aim to sometimes just help people because you thought you could get information out of them?
No, it was about building the relationship. It's just that when you start to build the relationship, it had a way of coming. And for me, it's illegal for us to go out and actively collect intelligence. I would never go out and, "Hey, how you doing?" and talking to the headmaster of the school and say, "Hey, by the way, can you tell me, is there anybody in your school who's a bad guy? Anybody out there who's talking about how they've robbed somebody or blown up an American convoy or something like that?" Because that's active collection of intelligence. But if in the course of our activities and our interaction, you start to trust me and you know that I can do things to help you, probably at some point you're going to say, "I have this bigger problem. I didn't feel comfortable talking to you about it before, but there is this family who is extorting money from other students." I could take that back to the human intelligence guys and say, "Hey," so I might tell you, "You know what, why don't you come to the monument where I work and you can talk to this guy, this warrant officer, and he will be able to help you, or I'll have him come talk to you." I'll find some way to help you talk to the right people that can work those kinds of issues.
So what was the average Iraqi opinion of the U.S. and the U.S. military and why they were in their country?
I guess the average opinion was, why isn't it fixed yet? I think is fairly fair. It's just fair in that that's what they thought, not fair from the standpoint of, in the big scope of how things would otherwise work, from an intelligent opinion and a practical opinion. For them it was, you guys showed up, in 6 months it should have been fixed, I should have the life that I want to have. And then there's the realistic side of it, and it's like there's no way we're going to be able to fix these issues. So that was probably the main concern or frustration that was voiced by Iraqis, was it's not fast enough. Their opinion of Americans, I think, was generally good. I mean, there was always the hardcore, Islamic extremists, that we were the source of all things bad. There were a lot of, I guess, middle of the road sort of Iraqis that you had to trace a lot of the stuff back to the Israel and Palestinian issue, and that we have always supported the Israelis. And so a lot of their frustrations, kind of tracked back to that, where they felt, if you asked them and said, do you have a problem with Americans in general, just by virtue of them being Americans? It was like, no, we like the things that they've come up with. We like, Disneyland and the things that they have heard about. We like the music, and, we have no, serious issues. What about their politics? Don't like that they support the Jews. We're really not keen to that one. And that is kind of like, as I came across, it was like a real huge issue across the entire region. If we didn't have the unwavering support we did for Israel, then a lot of the perception issues about Americans in that region, not just Iraq, but the whole region, wouldn't be as problematic as they are today.